Ever since I can remember, my mom has been listening to domineering CEO novels every day. As a result, I get annoyed just hearing the term domineering CEO. While my mom cries her heart out over the chasing the wife to the crematorium plot, I quietly calculate the male lead's family assets and draft a divorce compensation quote for him. When my mom feels heartbroken because the female lead is a substitute for the white moonlight, I say, why not take the chance to extort a hefty sum from the male lead? It's a pity I have a face that keeps strangers at bay. Since I was little, no man has dared to get close to me. As a result, my dream of becoming a gold digger has never once come true, until the night of the university graduation mixer, when a group of well-dressed young gentlemen in the bar sized me up for quite a while. They even muttered, "Holy crap, someone actually looks exactly like Wan Wan." The most handsome one among them walked over to me and said with a smile, "You look a lot like someone I once longed for but could never have. If you're willing to stay by my side, I won't treat you poorly." Overjoyed, I immediately took out my phone and opened the WeChat page. "Transfer me 1 million immediately, then pay me 3 times the market rate for substitute fees, youth loss compensation, and mental distress compensation, otherwise I'll package up everything you just said and send it to your white moonlight." The man in front instantly froze. The young masters beside him were also stunned, taking several minutes to come back to their senses. "Damn, so she's just a gold digger. What a waste of such a pretty face. Let's go, brother Gu." With that, they tried to pull the man in front of them away, but Gu Yan didn't budge an inch. Only his gaze toward me now held a trace of disgust. Indeed, no one can compare to Wan Wan. No matter how similar, no one has a heart as pure and clean as hers. I shook the wine glass in my hand, saying with an impatient expression, "Stop, stop, stop. If you want to act, head out the door, turn left, and take a cab to Hengdian. I have no obligation to play along with your little act." As soon as the words left my mouth, the young master beside me raised his hand, ready to strike. He roared furiously, "You bitch! Who do you think you're fooling, daring to embarrass my brother Gu? I'll teach you a lesson." Just as the slap was about to hit my face, Gu Yan raised his hand and firmly grabbed his wrist. He wasn't affected by the people around him. His eyes remained fixed intently on me. 1 million, right? No problem. Accompany me 3 times a week, and I'll decide the timing. He opened his phone, about to scan my payment code. I instantly turned off my phone screen, looking at him coldly. 1 million is hush money, not a sugar daddy fee, bro. This generation of domineering CEOs isn't quite up to par, huh? In the past, they'd throw out billions without a second thought, but now they're starting to haggle. Gu Yan's eye twitched slightly, a flicker of impatience flashing in his gaze, yet he took a deep breath, suppressing his discomfort as he asked me, "So what do you mean?" I extended my right hand, forming the shape of the number 5. Gu Yan immediately understood and, after considering for 10 seconds, nodded, "All right. I'll listen to you." After receiving the notification that 6 million had been deposited into my account, I almost couldn't help but burst out laughing on the spot. The young masters beside me were nearly driven mad with anxiety, stomping their feet in frustration. "Brother Gu, are you crazy? You're really going to give her whatever she asks for? This is extortion. There are plenty of women who would pay to be with you. Why do you have to choose such a bitch? She's just relying on that face of hers. What's so great about it?" Before he could finish his sentence, I raised my hand to cut him off. "If you say another word, I'll just keep raising the price. If you're not convinced, take my photo to a plastic surgery clinic and ask if they can make you look like me, or maybe consider going out and selling your ass." With that, I leaned back on the sofa, opened my phone, and started playing around. Damn, 6 million. I'm going to clear out my entire shopping cart and buy my mom 2 gold chains. Gu Yan pulled those rich kids aside, gave them a lesson, and they slunk out of the bar. Gu Yan handed me a business card and said coldly, "I'll contact you when I'm free. Don't reach out to me on your own in the meantime." I tossed the business card directly onto the ground. "I'm available on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons. Weekends are for my own plans. If you need to take up my weekend time." "Sure, but it's triple pay for statutory holidays. You know how it works." With that, I picked up my bag and walked away without looking back. I didn't need to look to know that Gu Yan's expression must have turned sour. On the way back, I sent a text to my mom, "Mom, I got an offer from a big tech company. You only need to work 3 days a week, and the salary is exceptionally good." At exactly 9 o'clock on Monday morning, The doorbell rang. Gu Yan stood at the door. Dressed in a custom-made suit, with two assistants following behind him. Change into this. He handed over a paper bag containing an expensive dress. I'm taking you somewhere. The service contract doesn't mention any outings. I leaned against the doorframe, not taking it. 10 times the hourly rate. Gu Yan's voice held not a trace of warmth. The itinerary is confidential, requiring an additional non-disclosure agreement. With extra fees. I took out my phone, first. A deposit. 100,000. Gu Yan's expression darkened. His assistant behind him gasped sharply, Miss Su, you. Gu Yan raised his hand to stop me and swiftly transferred the money. Now, can we go? The car eventually stopped at the headquarters building of the Gu Group. Gu Yan led me into the top-floor conference room. Beyond the massive floor-to-ceiling windows stretched the entire city skyline. The long table was flanked by stern-faced executives. Sit down and listen. Gu Yan pressed me into the corner seat, his tone leaving no room for argument. Keep your mouth shut the whole time. Don't say anything you shouldn't. This scenario was familiar to me, bringing the stand-in to the company to provoke the real one. The plot lines of you rich people are so cliched. He turned and walked to the head of the table, and the meeting began. The PowerPoint presentation displayed complex financial data and the words, East City Land Acquisition Case. The executives argued endlessly, focusing on how to crush a small company called Lin's to complete a low-cost acquisition. I idly played with my nails, until a financial director, during their report, quickly glossed over a set of abnormal data correlations. I raised my hand. The room fell silent in an instant. All eyes focused on me. Gu Yan frowned. What are you up to now? Can we go back to that previous slide? I pointed at the screen. The relationship between the third quarter cash flow and the changes in fixed assets doesn't seem to match up. The CFO's expression shifted slightly. Miss, if you don't understand, you shouldn't speak carelessly. I don't understand. I smiled, stood up, walked over to the screen, and pointed the laser pointer at those numbers. The increments here and here are completely inconsistent with the publicly disclosed construction in progress figures. Who is being helped to launder this extra money? The meeting room fell deathly silent. The CFO broke out in a cold sweat on his forehead. Gu Yan's gaze was full of doubt, sweeping between me and the financial director. Go on, business consulting, billed by the minute. I looked at Gu Yan. Shall we start now? Gu Yan practically gritted his teeth. Plan. I immediately spoke up, my words rapid fire, pinpointing 3 critical financial loopholes with precision. Each one directly pointed to someone using the project to line their own pockets. Initial assessment suggests the amount involved is no less than this figure. I made a 8 gesture with my hand, not 80,000, but 8 million. The financial director's face turned ashen. Gu Yan's face darkened with anger, and he waved to his assistant, take Director Li to rest, and assist him thoroughly in clarifying the accounts. He deliberately emphasized the word assist, making his meaning perfectly clear. After the meeting, Gu Yan took me back to his office. How did you figure it out? He scrutinized me as if I were some unknown creature. Basic skills. I shrugged, my tone devoid of any warmth. By the way, for the consultation just now, 10 minutes, calculated at 10 times the hourly rate. That'll be 80,000. We accept QR code payments. Gu Yan didn't move. Instead, he took a step closer, his presence overwhelmingly intense. You're more interesting than I imagined. Not just a pretty face, thanks for the compliment, but it's not free. I took a step back, maintaining my distance, but if you get too close, there will be a charge. Just then, the office door was abruptly pushed open. Lin Wanwan rushed in and froze when she saw me. After a moment, she snapped back to reality and cried out through her sobs, Brother Gu Yan, how could you bring her to the company? And you even confronted Director Li for her. He's my father's man. Gu Yan immediately took a few steps back, putting distance between us. He said gently, Wan Wan, what brings you here? Of course you don't want me here. Lin Wan Wan pointed at me, her voice full of grievance. It's this woman. She was just downstairs, secretly using her phone to photograph the security layout of the company lobby. She definitely has something to hide. My heart sank. I did take a few photos while waiting downstairs earlier, but they were of the artistic chandelier. I wanted to show my mom for renovation reference. Gu Yan's gaze instantly locked onto me. Explain. A flicker of triumph crossed Lin Wanwan's face. I met Gu Yan's scrutinizing gaze and slowly took out my phone. An explanation is possible, but but accusing me of corporate espionage is a serious matter. The compensation for my damaged reputation, 10 million. Gu Yan stared at me, the air freezing for a few seconds. He suddenly laughed. A laugh of sheer exasperation. 10 million, Shen Xiao, your appetite just keeps getting bigger. Thanks for the compliment. With inflation, one's worth naturally rises. I waved my phone. Pay up, and I'll prove my innocence right away. Lin Wanwan screamed. Brother Gu Yan, don't believe her. Gu Yan ignored her and directly waved to his assistant. Transfer it to her. The notification sound for the transfer arrived. I immediately unlocked my phone, pulled up the photos, and turned the screen toward them, revealing several close-up shots of a luxurious chandelier. The lights at Mr. Gu's company are quite nice. I took a photo to show my mom for reference in our renovation. Is that copyright infringement? Lin Wanwan's face turned deathly pale. Gu Yan's gaze swept over her, dark and intense. Wanwan, apologize. I played with my hair absent-mindedly, a smile on my lips as I spoke. Apologize, or I'll call your fiancé and tell him why you're here today. Lin Wanwan fell silent instantly, glaring at me with humiliation as she forced 3 words through gritted teeth. I'm sorry, recorded. I put away my phone. Next time, the price doubles. Lin Wanwan ran out in tears. Gu Yan brought me back to the villa. He pinned me against the floor-to-ceiling window. Shen Xiao, who exactly are you? Your creditor. I pushed him away. He kissed me directly, with a hint of punishment. I turned my head to avoid it. Kissing is extra, 100,000 per kiss. His movements halted, his eyes churning with anger and a provoked desire to conquer. That night, he proved with his actions that he was indeed very wealthy and very strong, but even in bed, I didn't forget my principles. Change positions, sure. Panting beneath him, I spoke up. Add another 100,000. Gu Yan's movements suddenly intensified as he gripped my waist, sneering, you even charge for these things. Shen Xiao, don't you think you're being despicable? I smiled. Meeting his gaze, does that mean what's free isn't despicable? It's just a matter of each taking what they need. Mr. Gu, don't think of yourself as too noble. He suddenly lost control, as if he wanted to tear me apart and devour me. When it was over, he leaned against the headboard and lit a cigarette. Wanwan is getting married. Oh, congratulations. I'm too tired to move. I don't want to hear your love story. And I can't say anything nice either. He stubbed out his cigarette. His gaze behind the smoke was inscrutable. The Lin family needs the Zhao family's funding chain, a business marriage. So she dumped you. I instantly pieced together the logic. So you found a substitute, both to anger her and to comfort yourself. Gu Yan tacitly agreed. How pitiful, I sneered. But it's all right, President Gu. I propped myself up, leaned closer to him, and let my fingertips trace across his chest. With me, you can always experience something more real than love. Something money can buy. Like what? Like right now. Post-coital cleanup service, 50,000, cash or transfer. Gu Yan stared at me, then suddenly smiled as well. He pinched my chin, not lightly. Shen Xiao, you'd better stay this sharp-tongued forever. After that day, Gu Yan came to my apartment noticeably more often, sometimes late at night. He'd collapse on the sofa reeking of alcohol, uttering just 2 words, cook. I tied on my apron and opened the timer on my phone. Companionship fee, 5,000 per hour, ingredients not included. He would frown and scold me for being obsessed with money, but his fingers never slowed when it came to transferring the payment. There was also a stormy night when I was startled awake by the lightning outside the window. He set aside his laptop and pulled me into his embrace. Can't sleep because of the noise, he asked. Noise pollution, compensation for mental damages, 30,000. I buried my face in his chest and mumbled. He didn't say anything more, just tightened his arms a little more. That night, he did nothing out of the ordinary. Of course, the cost of the embrace was separate, but I knew he was seeing someone else through me. I never had any feelings for him. On the eve of Lin Wanwan's wedding, Gu Yan barged into my apartment once again. This time, he reeked of alcohol, his eyes bloodshot and terrifying. He didn't even give me a chance to ask for money, pressing me against the wall and roughly tearing at my dress. Gu Yan, you're insane. You'll pay for the broken door. 10 times the price for the dress. I struggled and screamed. Compensation. I'll compensate you for everything. I'll give you however much you want. He lost control and growled, covering my mouth with his hand. Shut up. The way you look right now is nothing like her. I immediately stopped struggling. Sure enough, as he possessed me with near brutal force, his voice choked with sobs. Wan Wan, you're really getting married. How could you marry someone else? What does that make me then? So that's how it was. Lin Wan Wan is getting married tomorrow. On the afternoon of the wedding day, Gu Yan's assistant delivered a gift box. Inside was an extremely luxurious, intricately crafted gown. Paired with a set of priceless jewelry, Mr. Gu has instructed that you change into this and attend Miss Lin's wedding as his companion. I looked at the dress and didn't move. My phone chimed at just the right moment. 500,000 yuan had been deposited. The note read, "Keep quiet and cooperate." I curled the corner of my mouth and began to apply my makeup. Indeed, dealing with sensible people is always a relief. The wedding venue was decorated like a fairy tale castle, filled with celebrities, while the media aimed their cameras at the red carpet. When Gu Yan appeared with my hand in his, all eyes in the room instantly focused on us. I could feel countless gazes sweeping back and forth between me and Lin Wan Wan, filled with curiosity and undisguised contempt. Lin Wan Wan, holding the microphone, walked to the front of the stage with a radiant smile. "Thank you all for coming to my wedding today." Her voice was sweet as she said, "Here, I'd like to share a special surprise with everyone." As soon as her words fell, the main screen in the banquet hall suddenly lit up. What appeared was not a wedding photo, but a private picture of me on my apartment bed, one after another, from tricky angles. The shots only captured my solitary, sinking face. The male lead didn't even have a single arm in the frame. More importantly, the background clearly showed that it was my apartment bedroom. Lin Wan Wan absolutely does not have the ability to obtain photos from these angles, unless. I turned my head sharply to look at Gu Yan. He was quietly watching me, his gaze calm and unruffled. "This is the wedding gift I'm giving to Wan Wan. I'm sorry, but I'll compensate you accordingly afterward." Lin Wan Wan's face bloomed with a triumphant smile. She pointed at me and spoke into the microphone. "Everyone, this woman, Shen Xiao. She has been using her resemblance to me to persistently harass and extort Gu Yan, swindling a huge sum of money. Today, I implore everyone present to bear witness. She must vomit out every last cent of that filthy money." In an instant, all eyes, all camera lenses, were focused on me. Reporters frantically clicked their shutters, trying to capture my panicked expression. Gu Yan stood in place, expressionless, like a detached spectator. Amidst the chaos, I calmly rose to my feet, gently smoothing the hem of my expensive gown. Then, I took a miniature remote control from my clutch bag and pressed it lightly toward the main screen. The screen switched scenes once again. More explicit, more intimate photos surged forth, and this time, in every single photo, Gu Yan's face, lost in indulgence, utterly abandoned, was clearly visible. The gasps that erupted from the crowd were almost enough to lift the roof. I picked up the neglected microphone on the MC's table and spoke. Word by deliberate word, "Mr. Gu, last night in bed, you certainly didn't have this attitude." The next second, the media reporters nearly broke through the bodyguard's blockade, practically shoving their microphones into Gu Yan's face. The camera flashes cast a ghastly pallor over Gu Yan's livid expression. Lin Wan Wan suddenly snatched the host's microphone and shrieked, "Fake, it's all fake. Shen Xiao, you'll stop at nothing for money. You must have found some gigolo who looks a lot like Brother Gu Yan and filmed him. You're trying to frame him." She grabbed Gu Yan's arm. "Brother Gu Yan, say something. That wasn't you at all, was it?" Gu Yan's lips were pressed tightly together, his eyes dark and menacing as he stared at me, neither admitting nor denying it. Lin Wan Wan, emboldened by his tacit approval, pointed a finger right at my nose. "You say that's Brother Gu Yan. What evidence do you have?" All eyes in the room once again focused on me, but I smiled, gently brushed my hair, and spoke into the microphone, my voice clear and composed. "Miss Lin, you're right." Lin Wan Wan was taken aback. I continued, my gaze sweeping over her and Gu Yan. "But on the other hand, how can you prove that the person in those private photos of mine you just accused me of is actually me?" I took a step forward, closing in on Lin Wan Wan. The photos on the screen formed an eerie contrast with our two strikingly similar faces. "After all, you and I look so much alike." "On the contrary, I think that woman in the photos you publicly shared, wearing not a single piece of clothing, with such an ecstatic expression." I deliberately paused, savoring Lin Wan Wan's instantly pale face. "Is that you? You're talking nonsense." Lin Wan Wan almost lunged forward but was firmly held back by Gu Yan. I turned to Gu Yan, whose face was equally ashen, and leisurely delivered the final blow. Besides, I heard, Miss Lin and President Gu were each other's first love, weren't they? When you're young and deeply in love, it's only natural to leave behind some wild mementos, right? Enough. Lin Guodong stepped onto the stage with a livid expression, forcefully suppressing the chaos. He first shot a fierce glare at Gu Yan, then turned to me, his tone carrying an air of condescending authority. Miss Su, making such a disgraceful scene, isn't it all about money? Name your price and leave this place immediately. I let out a scornful laugh. Chairman Lin, do you really think this is still a problem that money can solve? What do you want then? What do I want? I scanned the entire room of guests and media, my voice icy cold. I want Lin Wanwan to publicly apologize to me for conspiring with Gu Yan to frame and slander me. You're dreaming. Lin Wanwan screamed. No apology. I picked up my phone. Then I'll just have to share more of Mr. Gu's wonderful audio recordings for free with all my media friends. Gu Yan suddenly looked up, his eyes murderous. Shen Shao, Lin Guodong's veins bulged on his forehead. He firmly held down Lin Wanwan, who still wanted to argue, and ground out the command through clenched teeth. Wanwan, Oppo, Lojai's. Lin Wanwan stared at her father in disbelief, then looked at Gu Yan's expressionless face. In the end, under immense pressure, she bowed her head in humiliation. Her voice was as faint as a mosquito's hum. I'm sorry, didn't you eat? I raised an eyebrow. Or is the Lin family's upbringing only worth this much volume? Lin Wanwan suddenly looked up, glaring at me with venom, almost roaring out. Sorry, is that enough? Recorded. I put away my phone. Next time, the price doubles. Lin Guodong suppressed his anger. Are you satisfied now? Can you leave? Leave, as if I had heard some joke. My gaze shot sharply toward him. Chairman Lin, our account hasn't even begun to be settled yet. What accounts are there between you and me? I walked toward him step by step, forcing him to instinctively retreat. The entire hall fell silent, with only the sound of my high heels tapping against the floor. For instance, more than 20 years ago, did you and your ex-wife only have Lin Wanwan as a daughter? The dead silence that followed the words was shattered by a frenzied uproar erupting from the media section. The color drained instantly from Lin Guodong's face, his lips trembling as if an invisible hand had seized his throat. You're lying, Lin Wanwan shrieked, trying to rush forward, but was firmly held back by Gu Yan. Dad, she's slandering you. Get her out of here. Lin Guodong snapped back to his senses, a flicker of ruthlessness flashing in his eyes as he roared at the bodyguards. Grab her. Throw this raving lunatic out of here. Several burly men immediately closed in on me. Let's see who dares lay a finger on my daughter. An unquestionably authoritative female voice suddenly cut through the crowd. All eyes in the room instantly turned toward the entrance. My mother, Shen Qing, dressed in a sharp black suit and skirt, walked in step by step in her high heels. She didn't look at anyone else, her gaze landing precisely on me as she gave a slight nod. That look said, well done, leave the rest to Mom. She walked straight to my side, standing shoulder to shoulder with me, facing Lin Guodong, whose face had turned ashen. Lin Guodong, it's been 23 years, you've taught my younger daughter to be foolish, malicious, and vicious, and you've driven my eldest daughter to defend herself in public. Let's settle this account properly today. Lin Wanwan stared in horror at my mother, then at me with features that mirrored hers, her voice trembling. You. Who are you? What right do you have to boss people around here? My mother shot her a glance, icy with mockery. By virtue of me, Shen Qing, being your one and only true mother in the eyes of the law. She no longer looked at the teetering Lin Wanwan, turning directly to face all the cameras, her presence commanding the room. Today, I, Shen Qing, return with my daughter, Shen Shao. We will legally pursue the full shares and control of the Shen Group, which Lin Guodong fraudulently seized from me all those years ago. The legal team is right outside, and the relevant evidence has already been submitted to the court. Lin Guodong finally broke down, pointing at my mother, his eyes wide with fury. Shen Qing, you set me up, you planned this from the start. My mother gently linked her arm with mine, like a queen raising her sharpest sword. That's right. I've been waiting for this moment since the day my daughter got close to Gu Yan. Thank you, Lin Guodong. Thank you for raising such a fine daughter and choosing such an excellent son-in-law, who have personally delivered your greatest weakness into my daughter's hands. Gu Yan suddenly looked at me, genuine fear appearing in his eyes for the first time. My mother took my hand and turned toward the door. leaving behind a deathly silence and the impending storm. The Rolls-Royce door closed, and the car sped away. I said with a laugh, "Mom, your move of using their own strength against them and inviting them into the trap is way more exciting than the domineering CEO novels you read." She raised an eyebrow gracefully. "The novel's ending is a happy one. Our ending." She looked out the window at the Lin Group building. "It's to leave them with nothing." As soon as the words fell, my phone began vibrating wildly. Countless notifications and messages flooded in instantly. Shocking twist. The true identity of gold digger Shen Xiao revealed. She's actually the illegitimate daughter of the Lin Group, lost and now found, twins with divergent fates. One becomes a wealthy heiress, the other willingly degenerates into a caged bird. The accompanying image is a comparison photo of me and Lin Wanwan, along with a meticulously forged medical record, claiming that my mother abandoned me in my early years due to mental health issues. The comments section is a disgrace, filled with insults directed at my mother's cruelty and my own shamelessness. "You're quick to act," I sneered. "You've really gone all out with this smear campaign." My mother's phone rang at the same time. It was a senior executive from the company, his voice urgent. "CEO Shen, the board is in an uproar. The stock price is bound to plummet at the opening. The shareholders are demanding an immediate explanation." She replied calmly, "Proceed as planned, keep things steady." After hanging up the phone, she looked at me, scared, a little excited. I put away my phone. "This plot, even the domineering CEO novels you listen to wouldn't dare write it like this. What do we do now? Play along with their game?" Her gaze was icy cold. "They want to use illegitimate daughter and abandonment to smear us. Then we'll let everyone see who the real victim is, and who is the thief stealing someone else's life." I wrapped my arms around my mom's arm and gave her a few big kisses. "Mom, so you read those domineering CEO novels to study the battles of wealthy families. You're preparing to take back everything that's rightfully yours. It seems I've misunderstood you all these years." The car did not return to the apartment but instead drove directly into a discreet private club. In the penthouse suite, several key lawyers and the public relations team were already waiting. "Mr. Shen." The lead lawyer handed over a document. "Based on the clues you provided, we have conducted a preliminary verification. During your postpartum coma, Mr. Lin Guodong indeed abused his position to forge the paternity test, and taking one of the infant girls away from you while concealing the fact of the twins. This constitutes a preliminary chain of evidence for suspected child abduction and fraud." I stared at the cold, unfeeling words on the document, my fingertips growing icy. So it wasn't abandonment, it was theft. My mother gripped my hand, her hold firm, and said to the lawyer, "Notify the media. We will hold a press conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. "Yes, Mr. Shen." Just then, my phone rang again. Another unknown number. I answered, and Lin Wanwan's hysterical cries came through from the other end, with a noisy background that sounded like some kind of party. "Shen Xiao, have you seen the news? You're just a shameful illegitimate daughter. Your mother is a lunatic. What right do you have to compete with me? Brother Gu Yan loves me. Everything in the Lin family is mine." I put the call on speakerphone. "Lin Wanwan, the necklace around your neck, the bracelet on your wrist, even every penny you've spent since you were a child, half of it should have been mine. You're enjoying a stolen life. Yet how can you still be so self-righteous? You're lying. Dad said that was your mother's debt to us." Lin Wanwan shrieked. "Then go ask your dear father," I said slowly and deliberately. "What did he do 23 years ago in the obstetrics and gynecology department of the city center hospital?" Before she could react, I hung up the phone directly. The suite was completely silent. Mom stood up, walked to the window, and looked down at the city's neon lights. "Lin Guodong wants to crush us with public opinion, then I'll make him understand." She turned around, her presence commanding, her gaze sweeping over everyone present. What it truly means to face the backlash of public opinion. At 9:50 the next morning, the press conference venue was packed, with cameras and microphones aimed at the podium. My mom and I sat backstage, watching the restless crowd on the monitor screen. Nervous, my mom adjusted her cuffs without looking up. I kept my head down, scrolling through my phone. On the screen was the trending topic the Lin family had bought. "Mom, they've upped the ante again, saying I had an abortion back in high school." My mother scoffed. "Let them stir things up. The higher the hype, the harder they'll fall." 10 o'clock sharp, we walked side by side onto the stage, and the flashbulbs instantly lit up as bright as daylight. without any pleasantries. My mother picked up the microphone and got straight to the point. Regarding the slander by Mr. Lin Guodong and his daughter Lin Wanwan against my daughter Shen Xiao and myself, the following response is now provided. She signaled for the lawyer to take the stage. The lawyer projected a document onto the large screen. This is a photocopy of the original birth records from the city center hospital 23 years ago. It clearly shows that Ms. Shenqing gave birth to twin girls. A stir rippled through the audience below. And this one, the lawyer switched slides, is the altered birth medical certificate that Mr. Lin Guodong used for household registration back then, which indicates only a single birth. The press area erupted in an uproar. Mr. Lin Guodong forged documents to register the second daughter, Lin Wanwan, under his own name while my client, Ms. Shenqing, was in a weakened state and unclear of mind after childbirth, and he concealed the fact of the twins from Ms. Shenqing for a long time. His actions are suspected of child abduction and forgery of official documents. The lawyer's voice was calm and clear. Furthermore, the claims of mental issues and abandonment spread by the Lin father and daughter are pure slander. These are Ms. Shenqing's annual physical examination reports and authoritative psychological assessments over the years. One by one, the pieces of evidence were presented. My mother took the microphone, her gaze sweeping across the room. Lin Guodong not only stole my daughter and raised her to be unable to distinguish right from wrong, but now he also wants to use the filthiest means to smear mud on us, mother and daughter. She paused for a second, her voice suddenly rising. Today, I have just one question for you. You kept my daughter like a caged canary in the Lin family for 23 years, letting her bear the name of an illegitimate child, using her to maintain your business alliances. To please the Gu and Zhao families, doesn't your conscience ache at all? The entire hall fell into dead silence. The next second, the side door of the press conference was violently flung open. Lin Wanwan broke through the security guards, her hair disheveled as she rushed in, pointing at us and screaming, "Fake! It's all fake! It's Shen Xiao who's jealous of me. They've conspired to fabricate these lies." Behind her followed Lin Guodong, his face ashen, along with several lawyers. "Shenqing, you forged evidence," Lin Guodong roared. "I'll sue you for defamation." Before my mother could speak, I stood up. I walked to the front of the stage, looking down at the frenzied Lin Wanwan, took out my phone, and played the phone recording from last night. "Shen Xiao, have you seen the news? You're just a secret, illegitimate daughter who can't see the light of day. You're talking nonsense. Dad said that was your mother's debt to us." The recording finished playing. I looked at Lin Wanwan, enunciating each word clearly. "Do I need to remind you that the diamond necklace you wore yesterday was a gift from the Shen group for my first birthday? You stole someone else's belongings and still have the nerve to speak so loudly." Lin Wanwan's face turned deathly pale, her hand instinctively reaching for her now bare neck. The reporter's cameras frantically focused on her guilty gesture. "As for you, Chairman Lin," I turned to Lin Guodong, "you claim the evidence is fabricated." I spoke into the microphone. "Then why don't we invite Nurse Shang, who handled your fake certificate back then, to come on stage and confront you face to face?" From the backstage passageway, a plainly dressed, visibly nervous middle-aged woman walked out. At the sight of her, Lin Guodong instantly turned deathly pale, staggering back a step. "You, how could you?" The scene completely exploded. Just then, my phone vibrated with a new message from Gu Yan. "Stop immediately, otherwise the dirt on the Shen family's overseas accounts will be on the Economic Crime Investigation Bureau's desk tomorrow." I glanced at it and immediately turned my phone screen toward my mother. My mother only glanced at it, sneered, and nodded at me. I replied to Gu Yan in front of all the media, "Mr. Gu, that third transfer of 80 million to your overseas shell company, used to launder money for Lin Corporation, just cleared yesterday, didn't it? Care to guess who has the copy of that transfer record now?" Click. Send. Almost simultaneously, Lin Guodong's lawyer received a phone call. After listening, his expression changed drastically, and he leaned in to whisper urgently into Lin Guodong's ear. Lin Guodong suddenly looked up, staring at me in disbelief, then at my mother, his eyes revealing utter fear for the first time. My mother slowly stood up. "Our response ends here. Next comes the legal proceedings." She took my hand and, amidst the chaos and frantic flashes of cameras, turned to leave, leaving behind utter despair and an irreparable mess for the ashen-faced father and daughter of the Lin family. Getting into the car, my mom's phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID and handed it to me. 2 words flashed on the screen. Gu Yan. I took the phone, pressed the answer button and turned on the speaker. Gu Yan's hoarse voice immediately came through. Shen Xiao, Mrs. Shen, let's end it here. Okay, Mr. Gu, we live in a society governed by law now. My mother said calmly, if you do something wrong, you have to face the consequences. I'll take responsibility, Gu Yan said urgently. Everything, I'll bear it all. The financial shortfall of the Lin family, I'll cover it. Any losses to the Shen family, I'll compensate double. I laughed. Mr. Gu, you can't even protect yourself right now. What do you have to compensate with? There was a silence on the other end of the line for a few seconds, and when Gu Yan spoke again, it seemed as if he had exhausted all his strength. Gu Corporation, all the shares of Gu Corporation under my name are to be transferred to Shen Xiao. I only ask that you leave Wan a way out. She was just spoiled by Lin Guodong. She doesn't understand anything. My mother and I exchanged a glance. Both seeing the same, just as expected, mockery in each other's eyes. For Lin Wan, he was truly willing to give up everything. Fine, my mother said decisively. Tomorrow at 9 in the morning, bring the equity transfer agreement and come to Shen Group to sign. The call ended. I leaned back in my chair and whistled. Mom, does this count as money falling from the sky while we're just sitting at home? My mother elegantly adjusted her collar. He offered it himself to buy his life. Naturally. We'll take it all. 24 hours later, in the CEO's office of the Shen Group, Gu Yan stood before the desk, dark circles under his eyes, stubble on his chin, looking as if he had aged 10 years overnight. He picked up the pen and signed his name on the equity transfer agreement. Now, can you let Wan go? He looked up, his eyes bloodshot. I put away the agreement, checked that everything was in order, and nodded to my mother. Lin Wan can be exempt from criminal prosecution. My mother spoke up, but she must publicly admit that all previous accusations against Shen Xiao were slander and apologize. Okay. Gu Yan seemed drained of strength, staggering as he turned to leave. Watching his humble and wretched retreating figure, I felt no ripple of emotion in my heart. If I had known it would come to this, I would have acted differently. Another 3 days passed. Lin Guodong was formally arrested on multiple charges including child abduction, document forgery, and embezzlement. The Lin Group declared bankruptcy, with all its assets frozen and liquidated. Meanwhile, my mother and I, without deploying a single soldier, took over the Gu Group in its entirety, standing in the office that originally belonged to Gu Yan on the top floor of the Gu Corporation. I watched the bustling traffic below. Mom, we won. My mother walked over to me with a cup of coffee in hand. It was a fairly clean victory. Just then, the assistant hurriedly pushed the door open. His expression strange. Mr. Shen, Miss Su, Miss Lin Wan is downstairs, insisting on seeing you. My mother and I exchanged glances once more. How dare she come? Let her come up. Lin Wan was brought forward. Shen Xiao, I came to thank you. She looked at me and suddenly laughed. Thank me? I raised an eyebrow. That's right. Her smile twisted. Thank you for letting me see what a waste Gu Yan is. I was slightly taken aback. Lin Wan's voice was sharp, filled with venom. To protect me. He actually handed over the entire Gu Corporation. What a useless fool, a waste. He thinks that would move me. Don't dream of it. He's not worthy of me at all. A piece of trash who can't even protect his own company. What right does he have to say he loves me? She grew more and more agitated as she spoke, gesturing wildly. What I regret most now is not squeezing every last bit of usefulness out of him back then. Do you know how much of a bootlicker he was in private? He was even willing to let me ride him like a horse. Ha ha ha. I looked at the woman before me, who seemed utterly deranged, and the last faint ripple in my heart, stirred by blood ties, finally settled completely. She simply didn't deserve anyone's love, especially not the twisted, all-consuming love of Gu Yan. Finished, I spoke coldly. Lin Wan's laughter abruptly ceased, and she continued speaking, almost as if trying to curry favor. I mean, Gu Yan and I are not in this together. After all, we're family. Could you let me come back? Once you're done talking, get out. I cut her off directly and pressed the intercom. Security, please escort this lady out. 2 security guards stepped forward. Lin Wan was dragged out, struggling as she went. She turned her head, glaring at me with venomous hatred, uttering the most vicious curse. Shen Xiao, don't you dare gloat. You'll all die a miserable death. I curse you. Her voice faded behind the closing elevator doors. The office fell quiet once more. I walked over to the massive floor-to-ceiling window, gazing down at the commercial territory that now belonged to us. Sunlight streamed through the glass, filling the room. My mother stood beside me, and together we looked out into the distance. "It's over," she said. "No." I raised the corner of my mouth, feeling the warmth of the sunlight. "It's just beginning." 3 months later, Lin Guodong was sentenced to 15 years in prison for multiple crimes. The once illustrious Chairman Lin collapsed like mud in the courtroom. Lin Wanwan, her public apology video was played on a loop across major platforms for an entire week. In the video, her eyes were hollow, her face haggard, as she recited her confession word by word. Having lost the protection of the Lin family and being completely abandoned by Gu Yan, she attempted to return to her old ways, trying to latch onto a new wealthy man. Unfortunately, her limited status and already notorious reputation made her a complete laughingstock in the truly elite circles. Someone posted a video online of her drunkenly insulting Gu Yan and complaining about the unfairness of fate. In the video, she was hysterical, her makeup smeared, with not a trace of her former image as a pure, wealthy heiress to be found. The comments section was filled with nothing but endless mockery and ridicule. The last I heard, she had disappeared to evade her debts. As for Gu Yan, after losing the Gu family business, he tried to make a comeback. Unfortunately, a man who would abandon his ancestral legacy for a woman could no longer earn any trust in the ruthless capital market. Former friends avoided him like the plague, while rivals seized the opportunity to kick him when he was down. Someone had once spotted him at a cocktail party for some third-rate project. He wore a forced smile, sipping cheap liquor he would have once scoffed at, his figure slightly plump, fine lines etched at the corners of his eyes. Just another face in the crowd. 1 year later, at the Shen Group's annual gala, my mother and I stood under the spotlight in our haute couture gowns, receiving thunderous applause from the entire audience. Today, the Shen Group has successfully integrated its original industries with the Gu family's business empire, its momentum soaring to new heights. "Mom, how does it feel?" I leaned close to her ear and asked with a smile. My mother swirled the champagne in her hand, her gaze sweeping over the countless faces filled with awe below, a slight curve forming on her red lips, a bit more satisfying than what's written in the novel. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I am a background prop in a CEO romance novel. Seriously, a literal background prop. My face is blurry, my clothes are just a texture, and even my walking animation has only 2 frames, until one day, the billionaire CEO male lead suddenly stops in front of me. Frowning as he stares at me intently, I glanced at the dialogue box above my head. Warning. The protagonist is staring at low-poly assets. The secret is about to be exposed. The domineering CEO spoke coldly. "Woman, why do you look like a pile of mosaic?" I gave a professional fake smile. "Boss, you need to pay for a membership to see in high definition." The domineering CEO pulled out a black card. "I'll top up 10 million. Load up that face of yours for me," I said. "Right away, boss. I'll turn on 4K Dolby Vision for you right now. My life is very routine." At 7 in the morning, I respawn at the intersection the male lead must pass by on his way to his mansion, holding a cup of soy milk that never runs out, pretending to check my watch. At 7:30, the male lead Lu Jingchuan's limited edition Maybach drove past. My task was to exclaim along with the traffic, "Wow, is this the aura of the richest man? Amazing." Task completed, off work, vanished on the spot, waiting for the next scene to refresh. I am a low-level character in this novel titled The Cold and Arrogant CEO's 99 Escapes. On this day, the system encountered a bug. Originally, I was supposed to spawn at the intersection, but due to a coordinate shift, I ended up spawning directly in the passenger seat of Lu Jingchuan's car. At that moment, Lu Jingchuan was driving. The speedometer read 120. I was still holding that cup of patterned soy milk in my hand, because the refresh happened so suddenly. My 2-frame animation hadn't finished playing out, so, from Lu Jingchuan's perspective, a blurry human figure had appeared out of thin air, twitching at him in a bizarre, glitchy manner. Screech, a piercing screech of brakes. The Maybach left a black skid mark on the roadside, as expected of the male lead. He didn't even faint from fright in such a situation. He unfastened his seatbelt with one hand, his deep, Icy eyes fixed intently on me. Who sent you? His voice was low, laced with a murderous edge. I swallowed hard, staring at the name above his head. Crimson, almost black. The system warning blared frantically in my mind. Warning, warning, bystander interfering with core plot. Disengage immediately, disengage immediately. I wanted to disengage too, but the car door was locked. I had no choice but to brace myself and deliver my scripted line. Oh my God. Is this the aura of the richest man? Lu Jingchuan was speechless. The air froze for 3 seconds. He narrowed his eyes, and my blurry face was reflected in those high-definition eyes. Are you playing dumb? He reached out to grab my wrist. The moment his hand touched me, he froze. Because of my low appearance rate, the author and modeler didn't bother putting much effort into me. In this world, only the male lead Lu Jingchuan and the female lead by Xiaoyan have 8K high-definition models, with pores visible down to the last detail. The important supporting character is probably in 1080p. As for me, not only is my visual quality a mere 360p, but even my fingers are stuck together. This is the legendary polygonal warrior. Lu Jingchuan touched my hand, which felt like Lego bricks, and it seemed as if a corner of his worldview had crumbled. Your hand, why is it so angular? I kept smiling, though to him it might have just looked like a black line curving slightly. Boss. It's because I didn't turn on anti-aliasing. Lu Jingchuan took me back to the company. Not because he fell in love with me, but because he thought I was some new type of biochemical weapon or a holographic projection spy. The CEO's office, 800 square meters, floor-to-ceiling windows, leather sofas. I stood there, like a pixelated character who had accidentally wandered into a AAA game. Lu Jingchuan sat in the executive chair, surrounded by a circle of bodyguards in black. Bodyguard stepped forward to report, Mr. Lu, we can't find any information on this woman. In the surveillance footage, she just appeared out of thin air. Lu Jingchuan sneered, his slender fingers tapping on the desk. Speak, who sent you, a rival company, or the Lin family, who wants to arrange a marriage with me? I sighed, I'm just a working stiff. Why do I have to get dragged into this high-stakes game? I glanced at the system panel, where today's work hours were already severely over the limit. As an extra, I don't get overtime pay. I decided to lay my cards on the table. Boss Lu. Would you believe me if I said I'm a system bug? Lu Jingchuan raised an eyebrow. Keep going. Really, my official designation is NPC 9527, commonly known as Extra A. Look at my face. These blurry features, this rough modeling. What kind of spy would look like this? It's just unprofessional. Lu Jingchuan stood up and walked over to me. He was indeed tall, standing at 188 centimeters. With an imposing presence, he leaned in close, as if trying to get a clear look at my face. Truly strange. He murmured to himself, staring too long, makes me a bit dizzy, like 3D motion sickness. I was speechless. Dizzy is right. My face comes with built-in Gaussian blur. Mr. Lu, since there's nothing else, could you let me go? I still have to rush to the next set for a schedule, I earnestly requested. Lu Jingchuan caught the key words. Set, schedule, you're an actor. I nodded. Sort of, an extra. Lu Jingchuan asked. Which company are you with? I said. Jihu. Oh no, I mean. Heaven Sent Rice Culture Co., Ltd. Lu Jingchuan seemed lost in thought. Suddenly, he took out his phone and snapped a photo of me. In the picture, he looked sharp and handsome, while I was just a blurry mess. He frowned. Why is it so blurry? I said. Because I'm a low-end model. And your phone is too high-end. The compatibility isn't good. Lu Jingchuan put away his phone and suddenly smiled. It was that fan chart smile from the original text. 3 parts cool indifference, 3 parts mockery, and 4 parts casual nonchalance. Interesting, woman, you've successfully caught my attention. System notification, male leads favorability +1, current favorability, -99. Plot deviation, 5%. My vision went dark. It's over. An extra who catches the attention of a domineering CEO usually has only 2 outcomes, either be landfilled, or be forcibly taken as a shield. Sure enough, the next second, Lu Jingchuan threw out a check. Stay by my side, be my secretary. I want to figure out what secrets you're hiding. I looked at that check, the zeros on it making my eyes blur. As a diligent NPC whose salary is only enough for a boxed meal, I wavered, but I still have professional integrity. Mr. Lu, I can't do it. I only have a few lines. and my functions are very limited, Lu Jingchuan said. A monthly salary of 100,000, I said. Actually, it's not like I can't learn, Lu Jingchuan said. Add another black card, with unlimited spending on the supplementary card. I immediately straightened up, even if it was just 2 frames of animation. Boss, would you like coffee or tea? Whether it's hand-ground coffee or a 1982 Lafite, though I can't model it out, I can at least draw you a picture of it. And so, I became Lu Jingchuan's Pixel secretary. My workstation is right at the entrance to the CEO's office. Every day, the executives and beauties passing by would look at me with expressions of utter disbelief. Oh my God, who is that? How can someone look so free-spirited? Shoo, that's the new secretary Mr. Lu hired. They say she's some kind of high-tech invisible person. Look, you can't even see her face clearly. It must be encrypted. I sat at my workstation, my heart utterly calm. Lu Jingchuan was a workaholic. He read documents quickly, but he cursed even faster. But since I arrived, the number of times he cursed has decreased, because every time he wanted to lose his temper, he would look up and see my pixelated face, and his anger would fizzle out. Shen Zhaodi, he called me by the name I had just given myself. I teleported over, yes, because I don't deserve a walking animation. The system directly determined my displacement. Here, boss, Lu Jingchuan rubbed his temples. Go, take this document to the finance department. I took the document, okay, but I didn't move. Lu Jingchuan asked, why aren't you going? I awkwardly pointed at the door. Boss, that door requires a loading bar. I'm a low-level unit and don't have the permission to cross maps, so I can't leave this office. Lu Jingchuan was speechless. He remained silent for a long time, that look of seeing an idiot resurfacing in his eyes. Do you think I have nothing better to do? Playing this kind of setting with me, I protested. Really, it's not that. I can only maintain my physical form within 10 meters of you. Any farther, and the system will reclaim me. Lu Jingchuan refused to believe it. He stood up and pushed open the door. Let's go. I braced myself and followed. Just as I stepped out of the office door, a crackling sound of electric current echoed through the air. My body began to flicker, like a light bulb with a bad connection. Warning. NPC has left the designated activity area. Forced reset imminent. Lu Jingchuan watched in disbelief as my lower half suddenly vanished, turning into a chaotic stream of garbled data. His pupils trembled violently as he grabbed the remaining upper half of my body. Shen Zhaodi, his grip was incredibly strong, forcefully pulling me back from the data stream. The moment I was dragged back into the office, my legs popped back into existence. Lu Jingchuan gasped for breath, looking at me. His eyes filled with a fear I had never seen before. What exactly are you? I patted my chest, though there was no heartbeat. I already told you, I'm just a low-poly background character. Boss, that last hit counts as a work injury. You'll have to pay extra. Lu Jingchuan did not speak. He stared at me intently for a long time, then picked up the internal phone. Technical department, get up here right now. Also, contact the world's top physicists and metaphysicists. I sighed inwardly. Boss. It's useless. This is a fictional world. Physics doesn't exist here. Even Newton would have to make way for the domineering CEO. The tech department has arrived, and so has the metaphysical master. The tech department says I'm a holographic projection device malfunction, but they can't find the projector anywhere. A metaphysics master says I'm a wandering ghost, waving a peachwood sword at me wildly. As a result, the peachwood sword passed through my body and got stuck in my texture. Unable to be pulled out, the master was so scared he scrambled away. A monster. This is a monster. Lu Jingchuan, with a dark expression, drove everyone out. Only he and I remained in the office. The atmosphere was somewhat eerie. Are you hungry? He suddenly asked. I nodded honestly. Hungry. Although I'm an NPC, the system settings give me a hunger meter, and if I go hungry for too long, my frame rate drops. Lu Jingchuan opened his exclusive lunchbox, revealing an exquisite lunch prepared by a 3-Michelin star chef, Australian lobster, black truffle, and some leafy greens I didn't recognize. Eat. He handed me the chopsticks. Tears streamed from my pixelated eyes, moved to the core. Boss, you truly are a great person. I picked up the chopsticks and took a piece of lobster. Then, something awkward happened. Because I'm a low-level model, my mouth is just a line and can't open. The lobster was pressed against my face, unable to get in. Lu Jingchuan watched me bumping the lobster against my face, his expression gradually twisting. You can't eat. I put down my chopsticks and said sadly, due to insufficient funding, the author didn't model the inside of my mouth. Lu Jingchuan was speechless. He took a deep breath, took out his phone, and dialed a number. Hey, assistantly, no matter what method you use, whether it's buying the game company or hiring a hacker, I want you to top up Shen Zhaodi's account. Yes, top up. I want to level her up. I want her to be able to eat, to walk, to have a high-definition face. After hanging up the phone, Lu Jingchuan looked at me, his gaze domineering and resolute. In my world, no defective products are allowed. I held the blocky face in my hands. Boss, is this what they call spending money to raise a paper character? Lu Jingchuan snorted coldly. Shut up. One more word and I'll delete your account. It has to be said, the power of money is invincible. Although this world is a novel, as the male lead, Lu Jingchuan's will can influence the rules of the world to some extent, mainly because the author doesn't want to upset the golden sponsor. I don't know what he did, but when I woke up the next day, I found that the world had changed. First of all, I could see things clearly. Originally, I saw Lu Jingchuan in high definition, while everyone else was in 720p. Now, I see everyone in 4K. I look down at my own hands. Oh my god, I have fingernails. I have palm lines. I touched my face. It was soft, elastic. I rushed to the mirror. In the mirror appeared a delicate and pleasant face, though not the kind of stunning beauty that could topple cities. After all, I couldn't steal the female lead spotlight. It was still a sweet, modest kind of pretty, with well-proportioned features. System alert. Detected a large influx of unidentified funds. NPC 9527 forcibly upgraded to high-level supporting character. Unlocked features. Free movement. Expression capture. Pain system. Taste system. Unlocked story branch. The CEO's little follower. I was grinning foolishly at the mirror when the office door opened. Lu Jingchuan walked in. He saw me and paused in his steps. A flicker of admiration flashed in his eyes, but he quickly concealed it. Seems the money wasn't wasted. He walked up to me and reached out to pinch my cheek. The texture is decent, not blocky anymore. I winced in pain, gritting my teeth. Ouch, 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 boss. I can feel pain now. Lu Jingchuan released his grip, a slight smile curling at the corner of his mouth. Get ready, there's a banquet tonight, and you'll be my date. I was taken aback. Evening banquet, isn't that the female lead's plot? According to the original storyline, tonight is a crucial moment when Lu Jingchuan and the female lead, Bai Xiaoyan, first meet. What am I going there for? To be a third wheel? I don't like repeating myself. Lu Jingchuan adjusted his cuffs. Since you're my secretary, this kind of overtime is mandatory. I tried to struggle. Boss, I haven't learned how to dance yet. And I don't have a gown either. Lu Jingchuan snapped his fingers. A group of stylists wheeled in clothing racks. Get her styled. I want her to outshine everyone tonight. As I gazed at those priceless haute couture gowns, only one thought crossed my mind. It's over. I'm about to dance right on the heroine's landmine. But then I reconsidered. I can feel pain now. I can taste flavors. Does that mean I can have lobster, boss? I looked at him with shining eyes. Will there be food at the banquet? Lu Jingchuan gave me a disdainful glance. How pathetic. There'll be plenty, I said. Great, tonight, I'll be your exclusive accessory. No one can change that. The banquet hall was resplendent with gold and jade. I wore a shimmering silver gown, holding Lu Jingchuan's arm, smiling more perfectly than the greeters at the entrance. Lu Jingchuan looked devastatingly handsome today, drawing everyone's attention the moment he entered, and by extension, I became the center of attention too. Who is that? Is she Mr. Lu's new flame? I've never seen her before. Which family's daughter is she? She's quite pleasant looking, but her gaze, why does she keep staring at the buffet area? I was indeed staring at the buffet area. Over there, there's Australian steak, premium sashimi, and that chocolate fountain I've been dreaming of. Lu Jingchuan seemed to sense my intention and warned in a low voice, put away that unsophisticated look of yours. The eldest daughter of the Bai family will be here later. You help me fend her off. The eldest daughter of the Bai family, also known as the female lead, Bai Xiaoyan, I instantly became alert. Boss, warding off romantic interests is a separate fee. Lu Jingchuan gritted his teeth and squeezed out 2 words. Double it. I immediately switched into battle mode. No problem. I guarantee not even a single female mosquito will fly within 3 meters of you. As soon as the words left my mouth, A commotion erupted at the door. The protagonist's halo is blinding my dog eyes. Bai Xiaoyan has arrived. She's wearing a pure white strapless gown, walking with such presence that it seems she has her own soft focus filter. I have to say, 8K high-definition modeling really is something else. Her skin is so fair, it's like a light bulb. She spotted Lu Jingchuan at a glance, her face lighting up with a mix of delight and shyness as she lifted the hem of her skirt and walked over. Brother Jingchuan, it's been a long time. Her voice was sweet enough to earn 5+ signs. Lu Jingchuan remained expressionless, his body stiff. I felt the call of my patron and immediately stepped forward, inserting myself between the two of them. Oh, miss, please wait a moment. I smiled as I looked at Bai Xiaoyan. Bai Xiaoyan was taken aback, staring at me with eyes that held 3 parts innocence and 7 parts grievance. Who are you? Why are you stopping me? I cleared my throat and started talking nonsense. I'm Mr. Lu's personal life assistant, Mr. Lu is allergic to auras today and can't get close to members of the opposite sex, especially those wearing white clothes. It could easily trigger a respiratory infection. Lu Jingchuan coughed beside me, clearly choked by my nonsense. Bai Xiaoyan's eyes instantly reddened. Brother Jingchuan, who is she? What nonsense is she talking about? Lu Jingchuan finally spoke. She's not talking nonsense. I'm allergic to you. I was speechless. Boss, your finishing move is a bit too ruthless. Bai Xiaoyan looked at Lu Jingchuan in disbelief, then glared at me with intense hatred. In that instant, I heard the system's warning, female protagonist's hatred value locked, current hatred value, 100, hidden plot triggered, the villainess's awakening. My heart skipped a beat. Wait, wasn't I just an extra? How did I become the villainess? This script is all wrong. I'm here to make money, not to engage in palace intrigue. Just then, Bai Xiaoyan suddenly slipped, and the red wine in her hand splashed straight toward me, the classic red wine on the dress trope. According to the usual plot, the male lead would dodge, the supporting female character would scream, and the female lead would apologize with an innocent look on her face. But I'm no ordinary supporting female character. I'm a high-level extra who just spent 10 million to upgrade. My reaction speed is the system's limit. The moment the red wine came flying, my brain short-circuited, and I instinctively made a judgment call. Opened my mouth. Yes, I was too hungry, and that red wine smelled expensive. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, I caught that splash of red wine at a bizarre angle. With perfect precision, gulp, swallowed it. The entire hall fell into dead silence. Bai Xiaoyan remained frozen in her wine-throwing pose, rooted to the spot. Lu Jingchuan stared at me, his jaw nearly hitting the floor. I was also stunned. I smacked my lips. An 82 vintage, a bit sour. Not enough time to breathe. 3 seconds later, the crowd erupted in uproarious laughter. Lu Jingchuan held his forehead, his shoulders shaking violently. He laughed loudly, not at all like a domineering CEO. Shen Zhaodi, he said, wiping the wine stain from the corner of my mouth as he laughed. You really are quite the talent. Bai Xiaoyan's face flushed a deep purple. She stamped her feet and ran off crying. I watched her retreating figure, feeling somewhat worried. Boss, I think I might have just chased away your future wife. Lu Jingchuan looked at me, his eyes flickering with a light I couldn't quite decipher. Bonus for you. After the dinner party, I became completely famous. The rumor in our circle was that Lu Jingchuan had found a remarkable woman who could catch red wine in her mouth. Some said I came from a circus troupe, others claimed I was a retired special forces soldier. Only I knew the truth. I was just that hungry. However, the matter did not end there. The longer I stayed by Lu Jingchuan's side, the more bugs appeared in this world. For example, while I was slacking off in the break room, I overheard 2 janitors talking. Janitor A, ugh. Why is this chapter so poorly written? Is the author just trying to meet their word count quota? Cleaner B, who knows? That new supporting female character Shen Zhaodi has more screen time than the female lead. Does the author want to change the female lead? I covered my mouth in horror. They were discussing the plot. Are the NPCs awakening? No, it's the bullet comments. I can see the bullet comments materializing. For example, when Lu Jingchuan was in a meeting, a line of text suddenly popped up on the PowerPoint. Applause here. President Lu is so handsome he could split the sky. The executives turned a blind eye, with only me and Lu Jingchuan exchanging a glance. Lu Jingchuan pointed at the screen. Did you see that too? I nodded. I saw it. That was the reader's flattery. Lu Jingchuan's expression darkened. My life is being watched by others. That evening, Lu Jingchuan summoned me to his private villa. He poured 2 glasses of wine. His expression grave. Shen Zhaodi, we need to talk. Talk about what? A raise. I responded reflexively. Let's talk about this world. Lu Jingchuan walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, gazing at the bustling traffic outside. Before, I thought my life was perfect. I had money, power, everything I wanted, but I always felt like something was missing, as if everything was just a prearranged program, until that day. When you fell onto my car, he turned around. His gaze burning as he looked at me. You're also one of those people outside the plot, aren't you? I fell silent. Lu Jingchuan was smarter than I had imagined, or rather, his self-awareness had awakened to a terrifying degree. President Lu, knowing too much isn't good for you. I advised him, wouldn't it be better to just be a happy, two-dimensional domineering CEO, show off a bit every day, spend some money, and in the end, live a shamelessly happy life with the female lead. I don't like Bai Xiaoyan, Lu Jingchuan interrupted me. Every time I see her, there's a voice in my head telling me to love her, but all I feel in my heart is disgust, this feeling of being controlled. It's sickening. He walked up to me and looked down at me. Only when I'm by your side does that voice disappear. I feel, I am free. My heart skipped a beat. No way. Is the domineering CEO trying to form a rebel alliance with me? What do you want to do then? Lu Jingchuan's gaze was resolute. I want to rewrite the script. He took out a contract from behind him. I don't just want you to be my secretary. I want you to be my partner. Together, we'll turn this abandoned, broken novel into what we want it to be. All profits, 50-50, 50-50. Lu Jingchuan's net worth is in the trillions. How much is 50-50? My CPU is about to overheat, boss. I grasped his hand firmly. My gaze as resolute as if taking an oath to join the party. From today onward, your life is my life. This script will be revised. Anyone who tries to stop me will have to face my wrath. The first step in revising the script is to disrupt the plot points. According to the original work, the next scene involves the male lead getting injured while saving the female lead, followed by her tender care, which deepens their emotional bond. The setting is an abandoned factory on the outskirts of the city, where the antagonist has kidnapped the female lead. Lu Jingchuan looked at the notice in his hand, actually a plot mission sent to me by the system, and sneered, kidnapping, are villains these days still so cliché? I was polishing my riot shield, a piece of equipment Lu Jingchuan had spent a fortune to buy for me. Boss, cliché as it may be, it works. What do you plan to do? Not going. Go. Of course I'll go. Lu Jingchuan straightened his tie, but not to save anyone, to acquire. And so, when the villainous boss held a knife to Bai Xiaoyan's neck, waiting for the domineering CEO to walk into the trap alone, he waited for a demolition team to arrive. Dozens of excavators rumbled into the abandoned factory. Lu Jingchuan, wearing a hard hat, shouted through a megaphone, listen up, villains inside. This land has been acquired by the Lu Group. We are now proceeding with explosive demolition. You have 3 minutes to evacuate, or face the consequences. The villain boss was dumbfounded. Bai Xiaoyan was also dumbfounded. Lu Jingchuan, are you crazy? I'm right here. Bai Xiaoyan screamed. Lu Jingchuan calmly said to me, Shen Zhaodi, go fish them out. Holding a riot shield, I charged into the factory. The villain paused upon seeing me. Who are you? I said, I'm the director of the demolition office at the Lu Group. Step aside, big guy, the excavator doesn't have eyes. The villain was speechless, taking advantage of his stunned state. I grabbed Bai Xiaoyan, threw her over my shoulder, and ran. I feel pain, but I also have monstrous strength. This is the hidden attribute of an extra. Bai Xiaoyan screamed on my shoulder, let me go. Where are you taking me? Where's brother Jingchuan? I comforted her while running. Stop screaming, or I'll throw you into the excavator bucket. This move completely derailed the plot. System warning, critical plot point. Hero saves beauty, has collapsed. Plot deviation 50%. Severe logic error detected. World restart imminent. Restart failed. Unknown error. Unknown error. The sky turned an eerie shade of purple. The ground began to tremble. Standing beside the excavator, Lu Jingchuan watched the shifting colors of the sky. Instead of panicking, a trace of fervent excitement flickered across his face. It seems the author is getting anxious. The world did not end, but the author. in order to patch up the plot, has started to create trouble for us. Lu Jingchuan's company suddenly encountered a financial crisis, his assets were frozen, and his stocks hit the limit down. Partners who had once been respectful to him suddenly turned against him, even the servants in the villa collectively resigned without warning. That night, the power went out, the mansion was plunged into complete darkness. Lu Jingchuan sat on the sofa, holding the last half bottle of red wine in his hand. Shen Zhaodi, his voice sounded somewhat weary. Are you scared? I'm a penniless man now. I turned on my phone's flashlight, illuminating his face. Boss, have you forgotten? I also have a black card, and it's your supplementary card. Lu Jingchuan gave a bitter smile. If the main card is frozen, can the supplementary card still be used? I smiled mysteriously and pulled a passbook out of my bag. Did you forget that I'm a money grubber? All the salary you gave me before, along with those miscellaneous bonuses, and even the appearance fee from that banquet, I've withdrawn them all. A fixed deposit. I slapped the passbook down in front of him. Not much, just 20 million, enough to support you for a while. Lu Jingchuan stared at the red passbook, stunned. He probably had never seen such a tacky passbook in his life. You had already planned an escape route, of course. I sat down beside him. Rule number 1 for being an extra, never trust capitalists, trust cash. Lu Jingchuan laughed. In the darkness, his eyes were brighter than the stars in the sky. He suddenly reached out and pulled me into his embrace. This time, there was no disdain, no testing, only a warm body temperature. Shen Zhaodi, thank you. Thump, I seem to hear the sound of my own heartbeat, although I have my little nest egg. Resisting the author's will is still difficult. The author has begun to forcibly lower intelligence. Lu Jingchuan sometimes suddenly spaces out, muttering, I need to find Xiaoyan, and then tries to rush out. At this point, I need to wake him up using physical means, for example, a slap. Wake up, boss. By Xiaoyan is nothing but a rotten peach blossom. Lu Jingchuan sniffled, his eyes clearing up. Damn, I think I was just possessed. He touched his face. Could you be gentler next time? I blew on my palm. Force works both ways. It hurts me too. To completely break free from the plot's control, Lu Jingchuan decided to fight back with everything he had. He used the last of his resources to develop a virus program. Since we are data, we will use data to defeat data. We need to hack into the back end of this novel and alter the outline. This is a crazy plan. We need to find the source code core of the world, according to my intuition as an extra. The core is right at the intersection where I first respawned. That's where the story began, and it's also the most unstable bug point. On the day of the final showdown, a torrential downpour poured from the sky. Lu Jingchuan drove the already battered Maybach, carrying me as we sped toward that intersection. Behind us were the plot correctors sent by the author. They were a group of faceless figures in black, wielding eraser-like weapons. Wherever they passed, the world turned into a blank void. Hold on tight. Lu Jingchuan slammed on the accelerator. Shen Zhaodi, if we fail this time, we'll vanish completely. I glanced at the relentless pursuers in black in the rearview mirror. Then vanish we shall. I never wanted to be that extra who just shouts 666 from the sidelines anyway. Lu Jingchuan turned to look at me, his gaze so gentle it could even melt data. From now on, you'll be my leading lady. Just as I was about to cover my wildly beating heart, the car plunged into the vortex at the center of the intersection. A blinding white light swallowed us whole. I heard the sound of keyboard tapping, the editor's furious roar, and Lu Jingchuan's final voice. Shen Zhaodi, grab my hand. I clung tightly to that warm hand. Even if the world collapsed, even if the data was reset, I won't let go. When I opened my eyes again, I thought I had arrived in hell, because the scene before me was too horrifying. Everywhere were mountains of instant noodle cups, scattered wads of toilet paper, and hair that had fallen all over the floor. Where is this? A recycling station. Beside me came Lu Jingchuan's disdainful voice. I turned to look at him. Thankfully, he hadn't turned into a QR code, nor had he vanished into thin air. But he had changed. The six-figure custom-made suit he was wearing seemed to have become somewhat dull and lackluster. Most importantly, the blinding title of male lead, Lu Jingchuan, above his head had disappeared. The special effects that came with their own background music and soft light filters were gone too. Now, he looked just like an excessively handsome ordinary human. Boss, are you okay? I tried moving my hands and feet, a real sensation, not the kind of pain simulated by the system. but the genuine feeling of my feet on the floor. Slightly cool and firm, Lu Jingchuan frowned as he scanned his surroundings. His gaze finally settling on a messy desk. On the desk sat a lit computer. Its screen displaying the document interface for the cold and arrogant CEO's 99th escape from marriage. The last line of the document read, Shen Zhaodi, grab my hand. The cursor was still blinking. Lu Jingchuan's pupils trembled violently. He strode over to the computer, staring at the document on the screen, his hands trembling slightly. Is this our world? He pointed at the text on the screen, his voice hoarse. My life, my pain, my inexplicable love for Bai Xiaoyan. All of it is in these few lines of song typeface. I walked over and glanced at the notes column beside the document. The note read, at this point, the male lead should show a hint of mockery, then forcefully kiss the female lead. Note, be sure to capture the feeling of kissing her as if trying to devour her. Readers love that. Lu Jingchuan was speechless. I could see he was holding his breath. And it felt like he was about to suffocate himself. Kiss me to death. He gritted his teeth. No wonder I always feel oxygen deprived after every kiss. It was programmed that way. Just then, the door was suddenly pushed open. A woman walked in, wearing pajamas, with hair as messy as a bird's nest, and dark circles under her eyes heavier than a giant panda's. In her hand, she held a freshly brewed bucket of aged pickled cabbage beef noodles, humming a tune as she entered. I can't finish writing. I just can't finish it. I want to abandon the story. She looked up and saw Lu Jingchuan standing in front of her computer, and me, standing beside him. Click, the instant noodle cup fell to the floor. Sauerkraut soup splattered all over the floor. The woman's mouth fell open as she pointed at Lu Jingchuan, her finger trembling like someone with Parkinson's. Lu Jingchuan. Then she pointed at me and said, Shen, that mosaic. Lu Jingchuan regained the aloofness of a domineering CEO. Though in the real world it came off a bit chinibu. He coldly stared at the woman. Woman, you're the author who doesn't want me to have a good time. The woman, who was the author herself, rolled her eyes and fainted on the spot. Half an hour later, the author woke up. She huddled in the corner of the bed, holding a keyboard like a shield, staring at us in terror. Don't kill me, I didn't want to torture you. The editor forced me. I wanted to write sweet stories too, but sweet stories don't make money. The author cried out, her voice trembling. Lu Jingchuan sat in the only gaming chair, legs crossed, exuding an overwhelming presence. So my fate is only worth a few $1,000 in attendance bonuses. The author shrank back. Sometimes, there's not even an attendance bonus, and taxes get deducted. I sighed, trying to smooth things over. Boss, don't scare her anymore. I just checked. The physical laws of this world are extremely strict. Although we've come through, we have no ID cards, no household registration, we're undocumented. Lu Jingchuan snorted coldly, habitually reaching into his pocket for the black card. He slapped the black card on the table. Here's 100 million, get me 2 legal identities and buy a villa that's not this dirty. The author looked at the black card and said weakly, Mr. Lu, this card, in the real world. It might just be a piece of plastic. Lu Jingchuan froze. He refused to believe it. This card is globally accepted by Swiss Bank, author, but your name isn't in the Swiss Bank's database. Your name only exists in my outline. Lu Jingchuan fell silent. I fell silent too, though I had long anticipated it. Witnessing the tycoon's bankruptcy firsthand was still quite shocking. A millionaire turned into a homeless man in an instant. What about me? I pointed at myself. Do I have money? I have a 20 million yuan savings passbook. I pulled out the passbook. The author glanced at it and felt even more awkward. Miss Shen, that bank name on the passbook was just something I made up to fill space. In reality, there's no such thing as the universe's super invincible #1 bank. Alright then, total wipeout, our current situation, penniless, without identities, and with an author who could write us out of existence at any moment. Lu Jingchuan took a deep breath and looked at the author. Since you created us, you have to take responsibility. The author shook his head frantically. I can't afford to support you. I can barely afford instant noodles. President Lu, you eat Australian lobster for a single meal, while I only have pickled cabbage. Lu Jingchuan stood up and walked over to the author. He leaned down, his 8K high-definition face closing in on the author's 360p barefaced complexion. I don't care. If you don't take responsibility, I'll delete everything you've written, and we'll all go down together. With that, He placed his hand on the keyboard. The author instantly caved. Dad, Dad, I'll think of something. I'll definitely think of something. Life in the real world is much harder than in novels. First, the issue of food must be resolved. Lu Jingchuan stared at the bowl of plain white rice and the plate of scrambled eggs with tomatoes in front of him, his brow furrowed tightly. What is this? Pig slop. I slapped him on the back. Eat. You should be grateful there's food at all. This is the author's own rations. Lu Jingchuan picked up his chopsticks with a pout. After taking a bite, he froze. This taste. I asked nervously, what's wrong? Is it poisonous? Lu Jingchuan's eyes turned slightly red. It's even better than what that 5-star chef makes. The author was moved to tears. Wah! President Lu actually praised my cooking skills. I have to write this into the next chapter. As time passed, another serious problem loomed before them. We are disappearing. My fingertips are starting to become a bit transparent, and Lu Jingchuan's legs occasionally flicker. The author is terrified. Not good. This is a dimensional rejection reaction, because the novel isn't finished yet, and you, as characters from the book, have come to reality. The world's framework isn't closed yet. The law of conservation of energy is at work. Speak plainly, Lu Jingchuan commanded. Author, simply put, if this novel doesn't reach its conclusion, or if you don't return to the book, you'll completely turn into air and vanish. Lu Jingchuan's expression changed, but he immediately grabbed my hand. I'm not going back. Going back means being at your mercy, and I'll have to keep getting tangled up with that by Xiaoyan. I nodded too. I'm not going back either. If I go back, I'll just turn back into a mosaic, and I'll have to watch you two fall in love. It's too heartbreaking. The author grabbed their hair, looking just as distraught. What do we do then, if you want to stay? Unless, her eyes suddenly lit up, unless we turn the novel into a documentary. If I write at the end of the novel that the male lead and the extra break through the fourth wall and travel to reality, living happily ever after, then the logic is complete. You'll become part of the real world. I said, is that even possible? Wouldn't that be a terrible ending? Author, can't worry about that now. Today's readers have very particular tastes. This kind of open ending might just go viral. No sooner said than done. The author threw themselves in front of the computer and began typing frantically. Chapter 999. The grand finale. Lu Jingchuan, weary of the false life of the wealthy elite, travels through time and space with his true love, Shen Zhaodi. The moment the author hit the enter key, the computer screen suddenly went black. Then, a red dialog box popped up. Warning, violating content detected. The ending severely deviates from the outline. Platform review not approved. Please rewrite. The author wailed. Reviewer, sir, I'm already in this state, and you're still blocking me. Lu Jingchuan frowned. Who is this review big boss? Is he even bigger than me? Give me the phone. I'll have a word with him. I grabbed his arm. Boss. This really isn't something you can talk your way out of. The review big boss is an act of God. A system prompt tone sounded in our ears. 24 hours remaining until character erasure. To pass the review, and to survive, we need to earn a sense of existence in the real world. The author says, as long as we are recognized by enough people in the real world, the rules of the world will default us as truly existing. In other words, we need to be famous. Read, Lu Jingchuan scoffed. I'm on the front page every day in the book. That's in the book. The author took out their phone and opened TikTok. Here, you need to be seen by real people. And so, a crazy plan was born. We're going to live stream, live theme, the down-to-earth reality of a domineering CEO. The author serves as the operator, I as the assistant, and Lu Jingchuan as the host. The live stream begins. Not many people are watching. Only a few stray viewers sent bullet comments. This streamer is quite handsome. But why is he dressed like he's about to acquire a company? Is this the owner of that Jiangnan leather factory that hasn't gone bankrupt yet? Lu Jingchuan looked at the bullet comments, a vein throbbing on his forehead. Are they laughing at me? I pressed down on his hand. Boss, hold it in. For survival, smile, say, old iron. Double tap 666 foot. Lu Jingchuan took a deep breath, faced the camera, and revealed that signature pie chart smile. Ladies, oh no, bros, give me a like, otherwise, he habitually wanted to say, otherwise the weather will turn cold and the king will fall, but suddenly remembered he was already bankrupt. He changed his words, otherwise, I won't have anything to eat. This incredibly strong sense of contrast instantly hit the netizens' funny bone. Ha ha ha. This guy's acting as a domineering CEO is spot on. That 3 parts disdain in his eyes is absolutely perfect. Isn't this way better than those greasy guys? Following, streamer, can you drive a Maybach? Seeing this comment, Lu Jingchuan got excited. Maybach, that car's suspension is too stiff, and the sound insulation is just average. I used to have 10 of them in my garage, and I only use them for grocery shopping. Netizens were in stitches. This flex is so over the top. I give it full marks. Buddy, what are you having for dinner tonight? Lu Jingchuan picked up the remaining scrambled eggs with tomatoes, a Michelin 3-star, budget-friendly alternative. The number of viewers in the live stream began to soar. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Gift effects filled the screen. Lu Jingchuan looked at the rocket on the screen and asked me, how much is this? I did a quick calculation. This one rocket, $500. Lu Jingchuan scoffed. Only 500, I used to spend 500,000 just to buy Xiaoyan a bag. Despite his disdain, his actions spoke otherwise. He turned to the camera and said, thank you to the top donor for the rocket. How about another one? That night, we went viral. Lu Jingchuan became a top-tier internet celebrity thanks to his face, his naturally domineering CEO aura, and the stark contrast of his pitiful state in this rundown rental apartment. Our bodies also stopped flickering. Presence fully established, however, the crisis was not completely resolved. Although we had gained a firm foothold in the real world, the novel world had not ceased to function. Due to the male lead's disappearance, the novel world began to collapse. Moreover, it seems that world is hunting us down. That day, just as the live stream ended, the author's computer suddenly turned on by itself. The text in the document began to glitch wildly, eventually coalescing into a single sentence. Return to the team, or face destruction. Immediately after, cracks began to appear on the walls of the rented room, not physical cracks, but spatial fissures that resembled shattered glass. Countless black hands reached out from within the fissures. They were the plot correctors. They want to capture Lu Jingchuan and take him back. Lu Jingchuan, the plot needs you. You're the male lead. You can't leave. From within the crack, Xiaoyan's piercing scream echoed out. Lu Jingchuan stood in front of me, casually grabbing the author's mechanical keyboard. Get out, he roared at the crack. I don't love Xiaoyan. I don't want any of that. I have my own life to live. More and more black hands were closing in, about to seize Lu Jingchuan. The author was hopping anxiously on the side. What should I do? Has my document been infected by a virus? I looked at those black hands and suddenly remembered something. Boss, I shouted out, actually, I have another identity. Lu Jingchuan turned to look at me and said, what, you're the hidden heiress of a top tycoon? No. I rushed toward the computer. I'm just an extra, a universal patch that can be plugged in wherever needed. Suddenly, I understood the meaning of my existence. I threw myself at the keyboard, not to type, but to press my hand, the one that had once been a mosaic, against the USB port. In that instant, my mind was flooded with streams of data. I connected to this novel. I saw that collapsing world. Shen Zhaodi, what are you doing? Lu Jingchuan wanted to pull me, but was entangled by the dark hands. I gave him a sorrowful smile. Lu Jingchuan, if I were to die in the next second, what would you want to say to me? Hearing my words that sounded like a last testament, Lu Jingchuan's tears instantly fell. Shen Zhaodi, I command you, you are not allowed to die. I closed my eyes. That's not the right line. Domineering CEO. When I opened them again, my eyes were already brimming with tears. I went, no, Lu Jingchuan shouted, Shen Zhaodi, I love you. I want to marry you and make you my wife. Hey, that's the line. I closed my eyes peacefully, frantically rewriting the code in my mind. Since he doesn't want to be the male lead, then he won't be. Since the world needs a pillar, then let's change it. I typed a new command into the document. Male lead Lu Jingchuan, awakened by an accident, transfers the protagonist's halo to the second male lead. Lu Jingchuan voluntarily gives up his billions in family fortune, breaks through the fourth wall, and crosses over into reality. Extra Shen Zhaodi, setting changed, follows Lu Jingchuan through the fourth wall into reality as his lawful wife. Finally, I pressed the enter key, confirm modifications. Boom, a flash of white light streaked by. The cracks on the wall vanished. Those terrifying black hands withdrew. The computer screen returned to normal. In the document, the plot had already changed. The original male lead number 2, that backup nice guy, suddenly inherited the Lu group and lived a happy life with Bai Xiaoyan, and Lu Jingchuan's name disappeared from the main character column. Everything returned to calm. I slumped in the chair, feeling completely drained. Lu Jingchuan rushed over and hugged me tightly. Shen Zhaodi, are you alright? I weakly opened my eyes, looking at his anxious face. Lu Jingchuan, speak, what do you want? I'll give you anything. Could you make me a bowl of noodles, with 2 eggs, please? Lu Jingchuan smiled through his tears. Granted, make it 3. 3 years later, now, Lu Jingchuan was no longer the unattainable Mr. Lu. He is the most popular live streaming sales host on the entire internet, Boss Lu. Although he doesn't sell all sorts of random things, he only offers 2 services, sleep-inducing and soothing service. Insult edition and emotional consultation. Savage edition, a fan asks. Boss Lu, what should I do if my boyfriend doesn't reply to my messages? Lu Jingchuan sneered. Why keep such a man if not to celebrate the new year? Next question, a fan asked. Boss Lu, how can I be as domineering as you? Lu Jingchuan straightened his tie. First, you need a good wife. The camera panned to me, counting money nearby. I am now his full-time agent and financial director. Although we don't live in a 1,000-square-foot mansion, nor do we have hundreds of servants. But we bought a large flat of our own, truly, paid in full. The author's luck has turned around as well, because our story was so bizarre. She turned it into a new book titled My CEO Husband Crossed Over to Work for Me, which instantly went viral and sold the rights. Now she no longer eats instant noodles, spending her days researching how to bring more fictional characters to life and form a boy band. That night, after the live stream ended, Lu Jingchuan turned off the camera and leaned in close to me. Honey, how was today's cash flow? I closed the ledger. Not bad. More than the dividends you earned on the day you became a CEO in the novel. Lu Jingchuan nodded with satisfaction, then pulled out a box from behind him. Then, this is for you. I opened the box. Inside was a diamond ring, though not the pigeon egg-sized kind you see in novels. Its cut was flawless, sparkling brilliantly. This is real, Lu Jingchuan said earnestly. It's not an empty promise or a digital image. I bought it with the money I earned. He knelt on one knee, holding my hand. Shen Zhaodi, in the past, I was programmed to love someone, but this time, it's my own choice. Will you let your name be written on my household register forever? I looked at him, my eyes growing a little warm. I remember the first time I saw him. He was driving a Maybach, and I was holding a cup of mosaic soy milk. Back then, he was the untouchable protagonist, and I was just a faceless passerby. But now, he is my Lu Jingchuan. I reached out my hand, letting him slip the ring onto my ring finger. Then, I flashed a professional fake smile. Boss, lifetime commitment comes with an extra charge. Lu Jingchuan smiled. And this time it wasn't a pie chart. It was pure adoration in his eyes. He kissed the back of my hand. Your salary card is yours, and so am I. Is that enough? Deal. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts?